Last time out, a winner at Knock Hill, and on the second row, second in warm-up. James, obviously your times too from qualifying could be faster.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a good race set up. The whole Virgin Mobile team has been working hard, so watch this space.
What about Tommy Hill? You got him. You got the youngster to stop today.
Superb. I mean, great to see him, and wish him all the best of luck. So, we'll just have to wait and see.
All about the start here.
Start is critical, yeah, absolutely. So you've got to get a good start. It's a long race, got to be patient, but we'll see.
All right, best of luck to James Hayden. He's got a second row start, and as I said, so many stories here. I want to get actually up to the rest of the row. There's John McGuinness and Dean Thomas. They are also on the second row, and it just shows how strong the second row is. Let's see what John's plan is from the inside. John, we're just talking how strong this second row is, but also a very good front row. You're on the inside. Is that a good position to be from?
I don't know really. I'm just going to try and get a real good start and try and get through the middle of John and Michael, and God knows what's going to happen. It's going to be action, that is for sure, and that's going to make or break the race, I think. Good start is really important around here, so that's what I'm going to try and get.
Hopefully by the time we see you at Devil's Elbow for the first lap, there'll be 2 green machines at the front.
That'd be nice. No reason why not. You know, Scott's on it, and I'm not too far away, so 1-2 is possible, but that'd be brilliant if it'll happen, but I'll do my best.
Best of luck too, John McGuinness on the second row from the inside. Let's go to the front row then. We saw Michael Rutter a moment ago, the local man who lives just down the road. Michael, obviously where you need to be. Is the inside a good start from here? You should know.
Well, I've got no option really, yeah, hopefully it'll be anyway.
Is the first few laps, because it's such a short lap, going to be key? I mean, there's 1 second between the top 16. I know you know that as well as anybody else.
Yeah, it's a hard circuit to overtake here, and you need to get a good start and get up there in the first few.
You can see your opposition, they're right next to you. Okay, let's. The buzzers are going off, and I want to get, if I can, John Reynolds knows what he has to do. We've just heard from him, and he had an early night last night, I heard, because he's got 2 youngsters, and one of them is right here with me, Tommy Hill. This man has been fast this weekend for sure. In fact, so fast he got a £50 fine for actually going down the pit lane too quickly.
That was my quickest lap actually, so don't worry about the £50 fine. We're here on the front row, and that's where I want to be. And if I could do Virgin Mobile Sanction proud by getting on the podium.
You must be so delighted. I don't want to put any more pressure on you. I just want you to go out there and race and win for us. But if I am going to put any pressure on, do you know what the last Yamaha to win the race of the year was?
No, I can't remember.
Your boss, Rob Mack, in 1991.
Right, hopefully we can do it again.
Fair enough. Well, that is an incentive for him. Rob Mack there, the last guy to win on a Yamaha, and the Yamaha right alongside. But I tell you what, pole position, first in BS speed, and when you arrive for the weekend, and that's the front cover, I guess it kind of puts a bit of pressure on you. But as you can see, in typical smart fashion, he's got his bib on. He doesn't look like he's got any pressure on you. What's all this about?
It's the dummy, Jonathan. Because if I don't have a dummy, how can I spit it out if I don't do well enough?
You haven't been spitting it, have you?
I spat my dummy at Knock Hill in the second race. I didn't do so well after winning the first, and the boys thought it would be nice to have this. I mean, Knock Hill, it was that cold and wet, it was perfect weather for penguins, and now it's baking hot and really, really sweaty. So hopefully I can do it in these conditions as well.
Listen, I know that you haven't had the perfect run up to this. Qualifying was perfect, but this morning you've had a few problems.
Yeah, we've had the electrics of the bike apart this morning because we had a problem with our dashboard, but it's all done and dusted now, and hopefully the bike will be good.
I've just been putting a bit of pressure on Tommy Hill, but you don't need any more pressure. Talk about a family affair. You've got your sister alongside you, and Paula's doing great. Judy's ironed my shirt this morning. Mum's out there, Dad's out there, and of course Barry Sheen, your uncle, won the race of the year 3 times.
Yeah, Jonathan, I'm scared to death as it is. So normally I've got people to aim for, and now I am the one with the target on my back. So normally my race plan's hang in there with the leaders, and hopefully I will be one of them this time. So just got to keep my head down. I've also got to say hello to Karen and Martin and Matthew.
What's the plan? Are you going to go straight from the start? Is it a key to get the best start you can?
Pretty much. It's just going to be, you know what Mallory Park's like, it won't probably spread out. There probably won't be a distinct leader. It'll be a big bundle of 10 bikes all trying to knock each other off. So it's just being there, basically.
Listen, I know you got a huge amount of support. Don't spit that dummy. Bring it back for us.
Thanks, I'll do my best.
As always, somebody with a little bit of fun. Well, the dummy really should be with Tommy Hill. He's the youngest front row starter.
Will he be able to make it work off the inside? That's Scott Smart on the outside of bike 88. Alongside him is Tommy Hill. Tommy Hill gets a flyer on the Virgin Mobile Yamaha. That's great stuff from the 19-year-old from Lincoln. He's wheeling away down to turn 1. That will do him no good at all, because Scott Smart's got under him, and Michael Rutter trying to get under him as they come into the long right-hander that is Gerard's corner. Out on the wide line there was Yukio Kamiyama. 4th place is John Reynolds, and right up there in 5th place is James Hayden. James Hayden has made a great start on the Virgin Mobile Yamaha as well. No time to get across the track into Edwina's chicane, a new addition to the track for us at British Superbike this year. Rutter's still in 2nd place now. Rutter is in 2nd place.
John Reynolds lost 2 places there with Hayden and Kagiyama getting past them into Edwina's.
And Yukio's right up with him as well, so a lot of braking going on. This is the Shaw's hairpin now. That looked like a run-on as far as, yes, it was a run-on as far as the 88 bike. Oh, and he still forced it down into the bus stop first. Amazing from Scott same as they were when I first came here 30 odd years ago. They haven't changed. They might have got a little bit smoother, but it is Gerard's corner now. A long, long right-hander all the way round, and look at Runner right out to the white line. Quite difficult here to get back to the right-hand side, and again he got it backed in there, and it hasn't cost him because he's just blocked the track, Neil.
Well, he was quite defensive coming down the middle of the track, breaking into Edwina's there, but he also backed it in. As you said, he was straight back to the apex, so no room for Michael Rutter. But Michael Rutter, number 3 there, second on HM Plant Honda, looking quite threatening. He's much more settled than Scott Smart is at the moment.
Yeah, I think Scott Smart's
James Hayden, he's the man on the move.
Just barges Tommy Hill right out of the way, and Yukio Kageyama has got under John Reynolds as well. Yukio's in front of John Reynolds, gone back a place. Amazing stuff here at the moment. It's absolutely cut and thrust as we thought it would be. Now, Tommy Hill said to me that his tyres might not last the full 30-lap distance. Be interested to see whether the Hawk Kawasaki's can make theirs last any longer, because Smarty now has settled down and has just got the biggest gap in the race so far. We're only on lap 3 of 30, a long, long way to go here. The Michelin shot HM Plant Honda of Michael Rutter in second place. Then it's James Hayden on the Virgin Mobile Yamaha Dunlop shot as well, followed by Yukio Kageyama on bike 71, the first of the Rizla Suzuki's. Then it's the next Rizla Suzuki of John Reynolds, who slipped back with Tommy Hill, who slipped back down behind Reynolds now as well. We're at the shore hairpin again, and Rutter gets it backed in. I remember Scott Smart's uncle Barry Sheen being stuck against that wall on the inside of the hairpin there as he backed it in and backed it straight onto the wall.
James Hayden's looking like the fastest man on the track. He's certainly good at the hairpin, where he passed his teammate Tommy Hill in the last lap, right on the back of Michael Rutter now. But Kageyama, the man that was fastest in this morning's morning warm-up, he's right on the back of James Hayden.
Cut, thrust and force are the 3 words that are being used here at the moment, because it really is a tough old race. As Yukio Kageyama, we see what he can do. He's forceful as hell. James Hayden definitely looking up for a second win if he can, and he's looking at the inside of Michael Rutter, and he gets it almost too easily, I would say, at Edwina's. Slid up the inside of Michael Rutter and just cruised into second place. He sets after Scott Smart. Well, I mentioned spoilers at the beginning of this show. I just didn't expect there to be quite so many.
Nice pass, and remember, James Hayden doing a brilliant job here on the R7 Yamaha. I think in 2001 almost won the race here at Mallory Park.
And then dunked it.
Yeah, well, we won't talk about that at the moment. It's a different James Hayden this season. He's reinvented himself, reinvented his career, and he's back on form here at Mallory Park. And here comes Kageyama past Rutter.
Yeah, very early days though as far as this is concerned. Of course, Rutter will be mainly concerned with the man behind him, but what Rutter should be doing is using all these spoilers that are going so good to get them between him and John Reynolds. He really needs to get the 25 points. Right, he's only going to gain a couple of points extra over Reynolds if he finishes just in front of him. Seems to be a bit slacking to Edwina's as well, really. He fell off there, of course, yesterday in qualifying. Maybe that sharpened him up a bit as far as the run into Edwina's.
Closing laps of qualifying, yeah, he did go down there, but certainly not the strongest rider on the brakes today. We've got John Reynolds. He's caught up. John Reynolds played it fairly careful in opening laps, keeping things nice and tidy, nice and steady. He hasn't lost sight of the leaders, and he's making progress now.
I think this is going to be down to tyres at the end of it. 30 laps is a long way round here. That hugely, hugely long Gerard's corner just rips the edge off the tyre, and you're really asking for the power down that little tiny back straight, the semi-straight. It really does.
I know there's been quite a lot of indecision, especially with the Dunlop runners here. No one's been able to do full race distance on tyres. They've gone 2/3 race distance on tyres that have looked okay, but conditions are not quite the same as they have been the previous 2 days of practice.
Through the Lake Esses, up towards, in fact, no, they're at Edwina's now. I think it says on the board. I will have to try and do that, shan't I? So, Smarty still has the lead over 36. James Hayden on the Virgin Mobile Yamaha from 71. Yukio Kageyama. These 3 now getting away as they come through the Lake Esses and head up the hill towards the Shores hairpin. Bottom gear, 30 miles an hour. In the middle of the corner, just a dead stop, flopping on its side job, and then they accelerate up to something like 70 miles an hour before pulling it back down for the bus stop chicane. They brought that in just to slow this corner down, Devil's Elbow, which used to be an absolutely scary set of turns when me and Neil rode round there.
And it still is. Looking from here, I'm scared here, far less being on the bike. But Kageyama, really good at the hairpin. It's a really tricky hairpin. He says he couldn't really figure it out which way to get round it, but he certainly seems to have got it sussed out now. It's number 36, James Hayden's closer to Smart.
Oh, he's got good drive down the back straight. He's got to go a long way round the outside. Smart, he's not not going to let him have that. James Hayden being forced on a wider line into Edwina's. Of course, it's all about jamming it into Edwina's, blocking the road, and then firing it out up to the S's, and then all the way up the hill to Shaw's hairpin. And Yukio now got the drive through there, got a much cleaner line, and really looked for the pass. He's going to have to go the long way. James is making him go the long way round. Hayden on the inside, Yukio on the outside. It's going to be a squirt down to the bus stop. James holds it off. This is a real scrap. If this was an alley, this would be alley cats at their best.
The top 5 so close, and Tommy Hill making up the top 6 right in the back of John Reynolds still. But James Hayden went down the outside of Scott Smart into Edwina's. Now Scott Smart's got a bit of a gap there, that little bit of a tussle between Kagayama and James Hayden at the Hereford's giving Scott Smart a little bit of a breather at the front.
Michael Rudder still 4th, John Reynolds still 5th. They're the men for the championship, but these are the 3 for the race as it is at the moment. But of course, this Kianari comes into the equation as well. Kianari, Ryuichi Kianari, on bike 23, well, they were called for him to be sacked by fans around the countryside, or give that bike to another bike. Took some time out in Suzuka last week, he's come back, they've re-chipped him, Honda have, and he seems to be firing on all cylinders again now.
I know he did some testing there, and speaking to some of the Honda guys that dialed in the settings he liked in Japan, and it's transformed. He really struggled the last few races, but he's back here at Mallory. Back James Hayden.
I was thinking of Yukio Kagayama, he turned that so good at the Shaw's hairpin and just got it on the fat bit of the tyre and fired it down towards the bus stop. I thought he was going to drop it over the nose of James Hayden. James Hayden then gets it all squirrely, and that's given Yukio a chance to get the power down on the Mr. Suzuki. But I'll tell you what, the long way round at Gerrard's is really and truly a long way round the outside.
It's impossible there. It's a very difficult move because it's dirty on the outside of the track there. Turning in the outside, there's a lot of rubber, a lot of dust out there. Not easy to turn in there and make a passing manoeuvre.
Well, we've had some good racing already. Reynolds out on the dirt almost, but he's underneath Rutter. That'll do. That just confirms his championship position at the moment. JR sticks it under Michael Rutter. Well, I've got to say, Michael Rutter really is having a little bit of trouble this year with those Suzukis.
He certainly is. Not to speak of the Kawasaki and the Yamaha as well.
As I go back round the outside, Runner had a bit of a go at that, but he's got Tommy Hill all over him as well. Kianari is not a million miles away from his teammate Rutter. Who'd have said that just a week or two ago?
Well, I wouldn't have thought for a moment Kianari could give Michael Rutter a run at Mallory Park, but I wonder if he'd be allowed to pass him.
Of course, Kianari, first time he's ever been here. Well, if he's allowed to pass him, they'll soon reel him back in, I'm sure. Neil Tuxworth will be working that out in a moment and delegating who's the man that's got to roll that particular board out. Taddy Okada, of course, is team manager of hardware at racing for Honda. And Neil Tuxworth, software, that's how they put it. Smart, Hayden, Kagayama, they are your top 3 at the moment. Reynolds, Rutter and Hill. Tommy Hill, well, getting a bit of a breather. He was very, that was an interesting interloper there, running across the track. As we look back at, again up the inside, James Hayden. I'll tell you what, there is no more a determined man than James Hayden when it comes to the brakes, and he's really on a defensive line, isn't he? He almost lets that bike fall over. I'm sure he must be doing about 20 or 25 mile an hour in the middle of that corner.
James Hayden's always gone well here at Mallory Park. I remember on the GSXR 750 Suzuki when he rode for Paul Denning, he was a front runner around here as well. We saw him getting a little bit squirrely last few laps with Kagayama.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but look at Hayden. Look at Hayden. That's how much he wants it. James Hayden then sticks it straight back under Yukio. Yukio definitely has got better drive out of Devil's Elbow and along that little short Kirkby straight. But when it comes to Gerrard's, well, one thing we could never ever say about James Hayden, he's never been scared in his life.
Impossible.
Yeah, I mean, he just doesn't know the meaning of the word, does he? But all the time these guys are tripping each other up, of course, it's giving Scott Smart a chance to keep it smooth, to keep it sane, and therefore, if he can keep it smooth and keep it good, it will keep his tyres as well. And that's really, I still think, we're only on lap 11, it's like they're going to turn to cheese if they go around here much more than 30 laps.
You're dead right there, high track temperatures. And really interesting, that new surface going into Edwina's, if you look at it, it's impregnated with glass, which is really weird, with different coloured glass in it. You think someone's been there partying last night smashing bottles. It's a really unusual surface.
Probably with Sean Emmett. 10th is Sean Emmett, by the way. John McGuinness, his good old buddy, he's just in front of him at the moment. Kagayama in front now at last. He's decided to do it in a different place over James Hayden. James Hayden then has slipped back into that 3rd place, but don't expect that to last because Hayden's going to have a go straight back on the brakes if he can. Not at Edwina's, and still John Reynolds is taking a look now at Hayden.
Well, Kagayama's been sitting behind James Hayden. You would think maybe he's been holding him up a little bit. He's managed to get past John Reynolds, the next guy in the back of James Hayden, number 36.
Quick name check for the privateers in the Superbike Cup then. It is Dennis Hobbs that leads from James Ellison at the moment and James Buckingham in 3rd place. That's the Superbike Cup, but we'll get back to them in just a little while. Of course, there's a battle, 2 lots in this race for the Superbike Cup and the Works boys. I can't believe those 2 Works Hondas, the HM Plant Hondas, jammed together. Kianari, is he in front of...
No, he's behind.
He has
passed Tommy Hill now. number 23, Richard Chianari, right in the back of teammate Michael Rutter.
Unbelievable. So Michael Rutter, the woes continue. He's only in 5th place at his home track. He really would have, well, I know he would have been under a little bit of pressure here. Not that you never guess it from him, of course, because he's so laid back. But this is not a good day for Michael Rutter's championship, and I would say that John Reynolds, if he carries on the way he's going at the moment, has surely got one finger on that trophy, even though after this race we've got another 9 races to go.
Well, it's not over yet, for sure.
I knew you'd ring a note of caution there for us all.
It's certainly, if he gets past all these guys in front, Scott Smart, Kageyama and James Hayden, then yeah, it will put a dent in Michael Rutter's championship hopes, but at the moment he's only just 1 place in front of Michael Rutter, not a huge problem points-wise.
But he is 38 points in front of Michael Rutter coming into this round, and I've got to say Michael Rutter has not looked in the last few meetings, whether it be he or whether it be the Honda, he certainly has not looked like a championship winner. We've had 7 different winners this year. Hayden was the last one, of course, at Knock Hill. As regards the Yamaha, we've had all the main manufacturers winning races in BSB this year. It's been a fantastic season so far. And I have to say, Scott Smart, I rated him, as you know.
I tell you what, the speed some riders have got Scott Smart and Kageyama. It'll be interesting to see where he thinks he can pass, because there's been a few tries so far in this race and no one's been able to make any impact, but Kageyama's on his back wheel now.
Lap 14 of 30, soon to be half distance. There is James Hayden, bike 36, right on the rear end of Yukio Kageyama, and Rutter has a bit of a run on, as did Reynolds. We're in the bus stop now. I'll tell you what, it's not going to be long for Chianari makes a pass on Michael Rutter. He might be thinking twice about it. I wonder if there is any team orders in there. They're usually fairly well worked out strategy-wise.
Sure. There would be no way he'd be allowed to pass Michael Rutter.
Well, he's harrying him. Rutter will really appreciate that. Not. We're at half distance then. 15 more laps to go.
Kageyama had a look into Duino's in the last lap. I wonder if it's this lap he's going to make his move.
I'll tell you what, he gets great drive. That Suzuki looks to me like it turns much better. Oh, 2 places in one go. So Scott Smart, having held the advantage for all those laps, now finds himself slipping back to 3rd place. I've got to say, that Suzuki looks to me like it turns and sticks better than any other bike. The one of Yukio I'm talking about, he just seems to be able to dump it on its side.
I mean, he's been a factory test rider for many years.
Oh, and I'll tell you what, Reynolds was through them for a split second on 3rd place, Scott Smart as well, but he slipped back again to 4th now. Rutter still right there as they come out of Devil's Elbow to start lap 16. Take another look at this.
Pass into Duino's round a long way. Sussed Scott Smart out there for a few laps. James Hayden up the inside. How they all made it round there, I'll never know.
And JR was looking for the opportunity to blast it up the inside, up the hill as well to the hairpin. Back with live pictures now, of course. And I'll tell you what, James Hayden has got John Reynolds to reckon with, because Reynolds is right there with him now, but Reynolds not quite as brave as Yukio at that particular point, still leading. Kageyama from Hayden, from that man, John Reynolds in 3rd place. 4th is now 88 Scott Smart, the Green Hawk Kawasaki. Then it's the 2 HM Plant Hondas. Oh, still in the order of Michael Rutter and Ryuichi Chianari. Tell you what, JR runs in so hot up into that hairpin. Chianari does too. Chianari, I thought he was going to drop it over Rutter just then.
Well, I think Chianari's just making a point here, following Michael Rutter really close, but it appears that he doesn't want to pass him. He's happy to stick behind him.
Yukio Kageyama has won 3 races so far this year. John Reynolds has won 4. Reynolds goes through, and James Hayden slips back another place. You've got to say, and I know I'm going to get a slap from it, particularly from Michael Rutter. Oh, and that lit up the rear end of Rutter. That might give Hayden a bit of drive as far as the back straight's concerned to get back under him. It did. So, with a bit of wheel spin there from John Reynolds, gave James Hayden the slight advantage as he made the Yamaha wheel stick to the tarmac.
Now you can see that's all it takes. Fractions of a second JR lost there. James Hayden was right alongside him.
Again, back markers, Kyle Bryce, no doubt. As we get to the hairpin, hopefully he will stay out of the way, because this is the critical part of the track to catch a back marker in, right in the middle of that chicane.
He needs to park it, and he did exactly what he said.
I mean, you really do need to keep right out of the way, because it could ruin a great day for a huge crowd here at Mallory Park. Hayden, Reynolds, Scott Smart, Rutter, Chianari, 36 and 2, Hayden and Reynolds. But still in front of them is Yukio Kageyama. The superb and likeable Yukio Kageyama. I'll tell you what, did he turn that almost into the... He looked like he dropped his knee in the ditch at Gerrard's then, Yukio.
Well...
Oh, Reynolds up the inside. Nice move, JR. Lovely little move.
Yeah, he got proper drive, although he's wide there.
Yeah, he was. But I think he's just about blocked Hayden enough up the hill through the S's.
Well, it's more difficult to pass now than it used to be. You used to get a good drive up through the S's into the hairpin, but it's pretty much one line out of there, and you can't really set riders up for like you could before to pass at the hairpin.
Scott Smart, Bike 88, having a look at James Hayden as well.
But I'm sure Scott Smart, you can see that final podium position there. He's in fourth at the moment, looking at James Hayden. If he can squeeze past him, then he's...
Let's have another look at it. So smooth, isn't it? Up the inside, classic JR.
Yeah, he made the first apex, but ran a little bit wide there. It's a bit of a bubble on the exit. James Hayden got closer. That's one of the Yamahas then.
Indeed. That's the Virgin Mobile Yamaha. Is it Mason?
It's Tommy Hill.
Tommy Hill. Tommy Hill takes a tumble. That's at the bus stop chicane as well. We were talking about that. It's just after the shorts hairpin. Such an unfortunate situation. So Tommy Hill drops out. Second place qualifier, but I'll tell you what, anybody that hasn't got their hand, as his teammate finds interview sideways on, anybody that hasn't got their hand in their pocket to sign Tommy Hill for next year, I would be very, very surprised. I would think the bidding for him is going up and up as the year progresses.
Well, I think Rob Mack will have certainly got his signature on the contract. He's well, James got him on a moment there.
Yeah, big one, James Hayden. And I spoke to Annabelle down at the start line earlier on today, and she was saying that they keep dropping the rear wheel into the dirt out of Devil's Elbow.
James Hayden just...
Well, that is. He's dropped it into the dirt out of... No, not quite got to it. Actually, he was on the rumble strip, wasn't he?
Meanwhile,
Scott Smart's gone through on him, so Scott Smart has obviously got James Hayden for that position. Still it is. Kagayama from Reynolds. Rizza Suzuki, 1-2. That'll make a few people in the paddock just a little bit sick.
2/3 of the race distance gone now is when tyres will come into play. Pretty much all these guys have tested tyres for this distance, but this next 10 laps will be the crucial time to see who's got the tyres that go the distance. Of course, the first 4 on Dunlops, then Michael Rutter and Kianari, 4th and 5th and 6th on the Michelins.
Sean Emmett on the Monster Mob Ducati up to 7th place. Dean Thomas on the Sendo Dienza Ducati in 8th place. John McGuinness on the other Hawk Kawasaki in 9th place. And Steve Plater, a big welcome back to Steve Plater. Of course, this is his first race back since big injuries earlier on in the other Virgin Mobile Yamaha. He's there at the moment in 10th place. So Virgin Mobile Steve Plater is back in this race.
That's a good ride. It's a good ride to Steve Plater. His arm's still way from being fixed and being completely fit, so a real good ride now. Brilliant physio. The best thing you can do is get on a bike and ride it hard.
Way too weak his arm at the moment, but like you say, and again James Hayden, he is a boy, isn't he, for making them things spin. So Kagayama and Reynolds, Smart still in 3rd place, but James Hayden doing everything he can to try and make that position if he can. He wants that podium so bad. There's Rutter, there's Kianari on 23. The 2 HM Plant Honda boys, it looks like they can only manage 5th and 6th at the moment. They just don't look like they're going to be good enough to make any impression on the boys in front of them. We're at Gerrard's on lap 22. John Reynolds is going to go for the 25 points. He is going to try and put his marker seal. I said, has he got one finger on this trophy? Well, if he wins this race, he'll have a hand on it. Especially with Rutter being as far back as he is. And it doesn't matter how cautious you are, Neil Mackenzie. That's a fact.
Well, he's certainly looking comfortable. He looks like his rear tyre's in better shape than his teammate in front, number 71, Yukio Kagayama. His bike's moving around a bit, spinning up a bit more, but JR looks like he's conserved his tyres. Looks like he's been kind with these tyres, and at the moment, he's going to reap the benefits.
A lot of back markers coming into line. The fastest lap so far has gone to Yukio Kagayama, a race leader on bike 71. But back markers, it'd be good if they catch him sort of on the exit of Gerrard's or somewhere like that, but the places you don't want to get them is, well, the hairpin's not too bad, you can bounce it up the inside, but you really don't want them in the middle of a chicane. That is a real pain, especially if they're concentrating on their own little battle, and no fault of theirs. They'll see blue flags, but of course if you're in a bit of a battle of your own, you really don't know who it's for.
Now, thankfully, these 2 at the front here look like they're pretty spread out, and they've done the sensible thing and got out of the way.
Yeah, so the 2 Rizzers are through, but what about the rest of them? Lap 23 of the 30, Kagayama. Well, we've said it so many times, but remarkable man coming back from that, as it turned out, could have been near fatal accident he had at Cadwell Park last year. His commitment is certainly not in doubt. And what was that about the, it's not the dog in the fight, it's the fight in the dog, he said he was starving. Well, John Reynolds, he might be 38 allegedly, 39 now actually, I think. But there's no man I've ever met that's been racing for this amount of time. I think we've got to go back to Mick Grant's days before we see people in British Championship racing as greedy as John Reynolds still is.
That's a good word. Well, I think it's a worry because the older he gets, the hungrier he gets, the more determined he gets. I've never seen a John Reynolds this fired up.
Well, good on him. Kagayama, Reynolds, Smart, Hayden, Kianari and Rutter, top 6. Rutter in 6th place. That is not the kind of point score he would be looking for. Gerard's again at the moment.
Kianari's past Rutter. Well, I never thought that would be allowed.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know what to make of that, I really don't.
Kianari 5th, Rutter 6th now, really. Kagayama's almost waiting for JR to pass.
Well, if JR wins this one, he gains another 15 points over Michael Rutter if Rutter finishes in 6th place, and that is another huge, great leap in the advancement of his championship aspirations. There is Paul Denning to the left, Jason McLean, PR for Rizza Suzuki, stood at his shoulder. Oh, and Yukio getting it along the move.
You can see side grip there, struggling a bit with side grip.
Well, I'm not surprised, are you? Just there, Gerard's is a killer of all tyres. Doesn't matter what manufacturer they come from. John Reynolds goes through then. Yukio will not be too disappointed to see that at all.
I think he'd almost be happy. He'd be happy to follow JR.
Yeah, I think he could have squirted back by then if he'd really wanted to. Having said that, he just lit that up in the middle of the S's there. I think Yukio might be suffering from a bit of tyre grip.
Well, we saw JR struggle coming out of between us there earlier in the race, and he just seems to lack a little bit of grip. A bit like coming out of the new chicane at Alton Park. JR always seems to struggle a bit there, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens now.
Yeah, classic JR manoeuvre up the inside of Yukio Kagayama. Yukio on the classic line, JR on the spoiler line, but
and that's right in front of the Rizla Hospitality, so
yeah,
I'm sure they wouldn't take any chances there.
They're all going to enjoy that, aren't they? Lap 26 of the 30 then. John Reynolds out front, Yukio Kagayama in 2nd place and running very wide as the corner speed goes into Gerard's. Really can't keep it on the side, can he? No.
Really struggling through Gerard.
Scott Smart still 3rd on the Hawk Kawasaki, still the Virgin Mobile Yamaha. Oh, 36 James Hayden, then it's 23 Ryoichi Kianari, somewhat surprisingly being allowed at the moment to be in front of Michael Rutter, the only man out of those two anyway that can challenge for this championship with John Reynolds. And well, I'm just amazed that someone has allowed that to happen, because Kianari is so far out of this series, there's no way he can do anything in it.
Oh, he's passed him.
Well, how about that?
Well, that's incredible. Well, it's so interesting because 2 riders and 2 Japanese riders that never been here before really getting on with this racetrack. Yukio Kagayama and Ryoichi Kianari. Maybe it's like the racetracks in Japan.
I don't think so. But I think they're enjoying their day here, that's for certain. And the weather, of course, having come from Knockhill, which I know it was raining all over the country, you're at pains to say, but all over the country of Scotland, I think I can say, to clarify that.
Get lost, it was all over the UK, we know that.
Oh, I love you too. Kianari then, in front. Oh,
sideways.
Yeah, but that's
his old riding style.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's like a different man came back from Japan. You see the way he lit that rear end up coming out the hairpin just a little bit earlier to get under Hayden.
Well, I haven't recognised this man since he broke his collarbone at home. Part of the way he's been riding just didn't look like the rider I saw pre-season testing and at Silverstone when he almost won at the beginning of the season, but he's back to his old self now and looking at a rostrum position here at Mallory Park.
Fantastic. He's closing down on Scott Smart. Scott Smart, all sorts of problems this morning when a bit of water got in the dashboard of that motorcycle, so he lost all the indications that he needs to be able to ride one of these things properly. He was sorting it out for himself, trying to get it dried out. Paula, his sister, brought a hairdryer up to try and dry it out as well. Where the water come from was a closely guarded secret, of course.
But you know, another thing, I've been watching Kianari out here all weekend and his bike just doesn't look like it's handling at all.
You said that. You said that.
I know. I would have bet money that he'd struggled in the races. His rear suspension looks like it's got so much travel and so much movement, bouncing up and down all over the place, although in control, but I thought, well, that's just going to chew tyres and it's never going to work, but it's obviously the way to go. Maybe Michael Rutter needs to look at some of Kianari's suspension settings and tyre choices.
Michael Rutter, to me, doesn't look like Michael Rutter today. I don't know whether I can clarify that in any way. He just doesn't look aggressive enough for this type of day. It just looked to me like he just lacked that little bit of an extra aggression early on in the race, and he just slipped back down the order. Reynolds, sorry, go on.
Sorry, yeah, Kianari he's been back to Japan again, and the popular rumour in the paddock is that he's been remapped. He said they're remapping while he's back in Japan and re-chipped, brought back to the UK, and he's back on form.
Well, whatever they did to him, it worked, because he's right out in 4th place at the moment, closing down on Scott Smart. If he can pick off a podium, that'll be his first since, what, Snetterton or?
Silverstone.
Silverstone, right at the beginning of the year, so round 1. Good memory, I like a bit of knowledge. I'm actually moving out the way then on the number 11 bike as we look at Kianari. He can smell the Kawasaki blood, can't he?
He can, he's
decided that he's going to go for that podium. We are on lap 29, soon to be lap 30, as the leaders come down the hill of Devil's Elbow to trip our meter just one more time. They're through now. Final lap then. This is the dash, and that says it. Keogh. 23 is Keogh. Ryuichi Kiyanari, as the thing bounces on those familiar Mallory bumps, or familiar to most of us that have been here for so many years. And he now has the whole of Gerrard to contemplate how he's going to make the pass down the back Stevie straight and into the chicane. He's got Kyle Bryce blocking the way. Oh, I'll tell you what, Scott Smart needs to line this up properly for the S's, otherwise he's going to have big trouble. Here is Yukio Kageyama still chasing his teammate John Reynolds. Surely he's not going to try and make a pass. John Reynolds then, take it. He is going to run wide, surely. Go on, JR, force him out of the way. Don't let him get the better of you. That's exactly right. JR needs to have shown him his wheel there. If Yukio had made that pass on him, I'd have been slightly disgusted. Checkered flag out then. John Reynolds takes the win from Yukio Kageyama. I think Yukio's pretty happy with that, or not, maybe. Scott Smart just got third, just got it from Kiyanari. Fifth was James Hayden from a very, very disconsolate, I would imagine, Michael Rutter in second results. John Reynolds taking that win from Yukio Kageyama. I'm still not sure just yet whether Yukio Kageyama was happy to be picked for that win or not. Certainly I think Paul Denning is going to need to take a bit of a stick to at least one of those pairing to try and get some decorum organised there. Scott Smart, a fine third for him, although I know he's going to be disappointed with it, but it is a podium. Ryuichi Kiyanari re-chipped by Honda and back with a bang. James Hayden in fifth. Michael Rutter, well, he's not going to do any good in his championship hopes from there in sixth place. Sean Emmett, though, manages to make it up from the fourth row to seventh place, although that's not where Monster Mob want him. Dean Thomas in eighth place too. John McGuinness. Dennis Hobbs, the best of the Superbike Cup boys. Sorry we didn't see much of him. That was a fine ride from Dennis there. Steve Plater, likewise, a great comeback ride from Steve Plater. He really isn't quite fit yet. Just about serviceable is how I would headline him. Kieran Clark in 12th place. Ian McPherson getting a little better on the ETI Ducati week on week. Gary Mason in 14th place. James Ellison, the Superbike Cup leader, in 15th place in front of another privateer, John Kirkham, just outside the overall points, but third place in the Superbike Cup. So John Reynolds then extends his lead by another 15 points over Michael Rutter. Yukio Kageyama now must be considering himself. Perhaps that's the plan. We'll have to ask Mr. McKenzie in a moment. Perhaps the plan is to get Yukio Kageyama winning more races so he can pass Michael Rutter for second place in the championship. Emmett equal now with Scott Smart in fourth place. Smarty by far and away the better man at this particular point of the season. Dean Thomas sixth, Kiyanari seventh.